Hey guys, so we'll get into some music in just a second, but firstly, I haven't posted in a little while, and that's not really unusual, but I've been trying to post a little bit more often. Basically what happened, so I was on a holiday, right, and I sort of planned a little bit of content ahead of time, but I was going to make a little bit while I was away, right? I discovered a few things that I'm not very good at. Anyway, back home now, so it's a little bit easier to sort of make things work given this limitation. Anyway, we're going to be taking a look at an old sort of, I called it minimal techno in the project file. I don't know if that's really accurate. I don't know, but we're going to take a listen to it, break down the tracks, and yeah, let's go. So within that main section, the primary element here is this instrument here. This is called new guzheng. I'm not 100% on that, but it's based on, well, it's a variety of the zither instrument. I'm not even going to pretend to know a lot about it, but this plugin in particular is from Sample Science. My DAW, for whatever reason, doesn't save the presets of whatever I leave these plugins in, so it just resets to default afterwards, so I've just given up trying to fix it. So this is sort of the sound I get out of it every time I close and reopen the project, so I just leave it as this. It's playing this melody, so it looks like, yeah, it must be in C major, kind of almost treating the G as a root note, as a note to go down to, and then the C as less of the root note and just an intermediate note. So the way it goes down to this G at the end of every bar, and also at the start of these bars starting on the G, makes it very much feel like the G is the root note. During this section we also have the bass, which is done with the Funk Bass plugin using the sub preset. This is kind of just playing notes that follow the same sort of rhythm of having the two eighth notes in a row and just descending down. So we'll listen to these two together. So you can hear how they play similar rhythms but play complementing notes. And then within this section, the only other part is the drum pattern. So this is using another Sample Science plugin called 606 Concept. And it's a fairly standard pattern, not necessarily designed to play the same timing as any other part, just something that I came up with, and I guess it works. This pattern here, this sort of, is very standard in especially hip-hop styles of music. Other than this snare here, it's pretty much just a very typical hip-hop pattern. So it's using these open hi-hats before some of these snares to make them feel more accented, and then some of these other snares just feel more like, they almost feel like ghost notes even though they're at full velocity. There's actually very minimal velocity variation here, but just this hi-hat before it allows it to feel a lot more accented when it closes at the same time as this snare hit. So in the later repeats of the chorus section, something else that we bring in is the synth. So it's just called synth, although technically most of these elements are synthesized. But this is a plugin called Synthetic Vortices, which is a very interesting synthesizer plugin, again from Sample Science. I picked one of these presets originally, not knowing that it wouldn't be saved, so I have no idea what I was originally going to use for this, but it just keeps reverting back to number one, so that's what we stick with. But this is what it sounds like. Not the best on its own when you think about sort of the notes it's playing, but in context it actually sounds alright. Not necessarily the first choice I would have made, but I think it's grown on me, even if by accident. So in the last chorus we also have that, and you may also notice we have this track that comes in here, which is called Helm, just named after the plugin that is on it. Just another sort of secondary synth instrument. Here's the sort of tone that it's playing. So it's considered a xylophone, and it's got, of course, some delay on it. So every time that this instrument comes in, it's just playing the same 8-bar pattern. So we'll just play that. So the first appearance of this pattern is during this sort of B section. So during this section, the new guzheng, which was previously playing the lead, switches to just more of a secondary role. Just playing little notes here and there. Almost taking over for a bass, which is not present here. And the bass only comes in during this pickup to go back into the chorus. Then hi-hats come in halfway through that section, and then we drop back into the chorus, this time with this added synth, as well as this counter melody continues playing, except this time it's backed up by the original melody on this instrument instead, which creates a much fuller sounding mix than we had before. So after that we drop back into the verse section with those same more broken down melodies, but this time we do actually have a proper bass playing that role. Just filling in the gaps in between the melodic sections. And then it does that pickup again. And then here it will just play out. So let's just talk a little bit about arrangement. So starting off with the intro, we play one loop of the main melody on this new guzheng instrument, and then halfway through it the bass part comes in, and then we pretty much just have one full chorus section. But this is sort of the first one, so there's neither of these instruments. There's no helm, or there's none of the synthetic vortices. And then coming in here we move into the verse, and then it's just a fairly standard chorus, verse again, and then into the final chorus. So overall you sort of think of it as a chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, but the first chorus and the last chorus are both sort of extended to have an intro and an outro. In between this last verse and the last chorus there's this little 3-beat gap, so it switches over to 3/4 just for 1 bar, just to add a little bit more rhythmic interest, and it sort of throws you off when it comes in out of not where you'd expect it. But I think it works quite well, and it's certainly not something that sort of throws you off for very long, if that makes sense. It's just a quick little thing and then straight back into the chorus and you forget about it. Anyway, that is pretty much going to be it for this one. So just a quick little breakdown of this track. So I'm not exactly sure about the title of minimal techno. World Instruments is certainly accurate, but I don't know about minimal techno, but it's certainly something. Yeah, let me know what you think of the beat itself. If you have any suggestions, I mean, it's not necessarily going towards any particular project, but it always could be released in one form or another. So if you have any opinions about it, let me know down in the comments. And other than that, that's pretty much going to wrap this one up. So hopefully you have enjoyed or found something useful. If you have, please make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. As I said, if you have any other comments, feedback or suggestions, leave them in the comment section down below. And other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.